Hey everyone, this is Gil again, back again with Dumalife, and today I'm back with my friend Kahlil, and we're going to be discussing the topic of leadership. And this is, to be candid, this is like the second go at it, but we're going to try to make it impactful as it was the first time. And basically, we are gearing up to do monthly videos to help young men gain that sense of leadership, understand the how to transform into a more responsible, a better version of themselves.
Yeah, I mean, we're just sharing what we've learned.
Yes.
And also trying to, we're still learning.
Yeah.
So I guess this conversation will also help us in our own challenges
Yes.
in leadership. No? So hopefully it could also be helpful to younger versions of ourselves.
Yes.
I mean, I suppose these are the lessons we would have wanted to transmit to our younger selves.
Yes.
And also, I received a lot of help from mentors
Yes.
in my own journey. So I guess this is like one way of paying forward.
Yes, I agree with that. Yes. I have always found, like, going back to training and teaching, I've always found I got better at what I did by training the basics.
Definitely. I mean, there's this learning technique called the Feynman technique. Have you heard of that?
No, I have not. Expound on it more. Feynman technique?
This Richard Feynman is a
Feynman, okay.
famous physicist.
Uh-huh.
So he says that the best way to learn something is to explain it to someone else.
Yes.
So, if you could explain it, it means that you have learned it.
Yes.
And so here, we're still trying to learn. And hopefully, you might learn something from it. Because both of us are involved in initiatives related to helping young people also grow as leaders. I've been organizing some project management training here in Kota for student leaders of Davao. You've also been mentoring young people.
Yeah.
So this is just an extension of what we're already been doing, and we see some meaning in.
I know you touched on it before, as in usually the young men that come through here are they have that fire in them ready, that wanting in them. How would you approach someone who just plain Joe off the street, that that you see there's potential there, but how would you even approach them to be like, listen, I kind of see the potential in you? How would you approach it? How would you approach that situation if you saw a young man with potential, but that they might have their priorities, not in the right place at their moment in life?
It really depends on the person, because each one is different.
Right.
But personally, what helped me get out of that sort of a trap of it's really a a mindset.
Yes.
It's actually just seeing other young people have a different mindset.
Yes.
And one of the biggest turning points in my life actually happened here in Mindanao.
Okay.
That was when my mindset radically changed.
Wow. Okay.
I was 18, and my lolo, God rest his soul, and he invited me to this volunteer camp in Bukidnon. So we spent 3 weeks there. It was what was the longest time I spent outside of Cebu by that point. And I was just with young men who had a different mindset, because my mindset then was really very self-centered and not really ambitious.
Were you forced to come in by your lolo, or you?
No, I was just bored during summer. Hey, this is interesting.
Right.
I get to travel.
Right.
And go outside of Cebu. It's a different experience.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that it would, totally changed my life.
Okay, yeah.
So, but it was, I think, I've been looking back at point in my life for so long because it's really a turning point.
Yes.
So I think it was really like the being among young people with a different mindset.
Wow.
So because there were other things there were like talks. There was even a priest, a chaplain who gave us some what you call this, guided our prayer.
Right.
And we had some like spiritual direction. We also had one-on-one conversations with a mentor. But now that I learned more about like psychology and like how people behave, a big part really, I guess it was the whole package. A big part really was like the environment. Of course, another big thing there was that it showed me that you could actually like live a very productive life by having like a set schedule. Because there, we wake up early.
Yes.
And then we do our like prayer, and then we attend mass.
Yes.
And then breakfast, and then it's like you're with your crew there, like preparing for the day's work during breakfast, and then you go out, and then we were like cleaning canals there, building market stalls.
Wow.
Some of them were teaching young kids some math, and then lunchtime you come together again. You hang out, and then we had a like charades and like just messing around, and then in the afternoon we worked again,
right? And
then merienda, and then we played football or basketball with the locals there. So I guess I realized like I could actually live like this. It's like I could recreate this in my life. And then, I started seeing improvements in myself, like, long, like bad habits that had been there for a long time. Slowly I was slowly defeating my inner demons one by one.
Okay.
Now I was like, okay, this is interesting. So, but it started with the change of mindset, and that mindset became more embedded. That hey, I could always improve. I could always grow, even the defeats. Which are inevitable.
Yes.
I could stand back again.
Yes.
There's never any permanent defeat. You could always learn from your failures. So that's, I think, how I would. That's the perfect scenario.
Yeah.
I've been organizing something like that in the maybe past 2 decades.
Yeah.
Because it was such a important point in my life. So I think that's the best case scenario. In other cases, you really have to like talk to the guy, and get to know him. But a lot of times, it's also outside of your control. It's really up to the person at the end of the day. Just do what you can, and then and sometimes it also there's like a right timing for the person.
Yeah.
So it's like if it's not yet time for them to make a change.
That's true.
It's at the time. It's like they'll be ready when they're ready.
You can't force it upon them.
Exactly.
It's like that saying. Like, I don't know if I'm probably saying it right. It's like that. You can lead a horse to the trough, but you can't make the horse drink the water if he doesn't want to.
Yeah, definitely.
But do you, like when it comes to I guess how you found that in your life, that in that discovery of that you being 18, how important do you think structure is to a man when trying to be a better version of himself?
I think structure is like what you call this part of being a man.
I think so as well. I agree.
Yeah, it's like the structure in your schedule.
Yes.
A structure in your mind. A structure in your relationships, how you deal with people. That's there's also a kind. Overdoing it is also could be a negative thing. So too much structure could limit your growth.
Yes.
But an absence of structure will also mean
No growth.
No, yeah,
No
so
growth.
there's no. So you're building. Building means
Yeah.
a structure.
Yeah.
No? And because you are a free man, you could actually build yourself.
Yes.
No, you could have a goal. Okay, this is what I'm supposed to be in the future.
Yeah.
This is the man I want to be. This man I'm supposed to be, and you could build your habits around that.
Yes.
So yeah,
I mean, I hope the young men who are watching this see that what Coda is doing, what we're planning to do as a pillar to one of that structural, the structural pillars of what they're trying to construct, because I do see the value in having structure, but having a sense of like free flow sometimes, because it's one of those, if you have too much of free flow, then everything's just everywhere.
yeah.
If you have too much structure, then you might get wound up really quickly and then break down the road, or you might get wound up and everything like that.
It takes skill to actually do it. So at least my experience and what I see happens in young men, or the pathway of most is like you start with structure first,
Yes.
because there are very few of us who are born with who have a tendency for structure.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some. I mean, we see some people are it's natural for them
Yeah.
to just be very structural. They're the ones who need some more spontaneity and following their instincts.
Yeah.
But a lot of us, we need that structure in order to be free. So it's like building the base so that you could improv
Yes.
at beyond that.
Right.
So once this thing is solid, your schedule is solid, your view or your
Mindset.
your
Perspective, I guess.
your basic understanding of things is solid. So you could be more free flow in the actual what you call this, day to day or hour to hour execution.
Yeah.
Let's make it more concrete. For instance, one of the first things I've learned is to have a daily schedule.
Yes.
So once you have your daily schedule, you don't have to think about these basic things. When do I get up, take a bath? It's like this things,
It's
the daily things. It's okay, it's set. It takes a while to actually make them a habit.
Yeah.
But once they're there, it's like I could now improv on the more important things, which is for instance, my work, my study.
Yeah.
It's there's gonna be surprises.
Yeah.
There'll be opportunities.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing now. I mean, this is the habits I built when I was in my teens.
Yes.
I mean, still continue today. Of course, I had to reset. Sometimes I had to rebuild them once in a while. But for most of my life, they have been solid. My schedule. And now I'm even more flexible because they're more solid. Meaning, I have different versions of that solid structure.
Yeah.
In this situation, for instance, daily situation is okay, this is what I get up on this time and I do my morning routine here, do my exercise here. That's the normal day.
Right.
But then I could also adapt to I had to wake up earlier.
Right.
Or perhaps I had to stay up late last night and wake up later, or have some special thing to do today or whatever. I mean, I already have my template.
You have contingency plans for.
I know what I'm gonna do in this kind of situation. So
Yeah. You're adept to seeing certain things when you don't have to worry about the daily things.
yeah, exactly. So if you're always every day you have to make decisions
Yeah.
about what's gonna be the structure of the day and all that.
Yeah.
So you don't have the what you call this? You have
Capacity.
less capacity
Yeah.
to think about being more creative.
Yeah. I agree. I want to pick your brain on something because I know that this is like contentious for some people, or maybe. What do you think it's better to have? Street smarts or book smart?
Depends on your job.
Okay, but okay, let's broader scope, basic life.
It's
See, it's weird. it gets really like, which one do you adapt to more than, you know?
Now let's just define what you mean by
I guess
street
it's
smarts and book smarts.
Street smart is like, I don't know how, okay, I guess to define is like, I grew up in a rough neighborhood, right? So for me, street smart is being able to like, maybe have a bit more common sense than the average person that's like really in the books, really in the world of academia. Being able to like, you know, I mean, this is just my world, right? Being adept at looking at situations and be like, social awareness, like something's about to happen right here. Let me just, or this, there's something wrong here. This is like a, this is like a, or, but then being book smart is, for me, being in my perspective is being very analytical, understanding the philosophy of something, the theory of something, and then eventually applying that to life. But sometimes for me, it takes a bit longer to really like, somebody who's like street smart, like they get it like that, like it like that, yeah.
No, it's like asking, is it better to have good cardio or strength, muscle strength?
Yeah.
No, because like, you know, if you are a long distance runner, I mean, cardio is more important.
Yeah.
If you are Olympic weightlifter, I mean, the power is more important. So it's like, if you are for instance, an academic, it's still useful to have street smarts, no? Because you have to operate in the world. But your main job is like theorizing and like being able to explain, you know, whatever you are studying. If you are, for instance, if you're a manager,
right?
Like street smarts is a lot of, it's very important. Although having different conceptual models of how people operate brings you to a different level, because you could be a street smart, or you have street smarts in different contexts.
Yes.
So for instance, you're growing up in like the tough streets of New York.
Yeah.
You know, you have a model of the world.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure will be applicable to maybe 80%, 90% of like situations. But there will be contexts where the dynamics will be different.
Yes.
So the book smarts is like, okay, this model, I learned it, it's my instinct, it's like I'm so good at it. But what are the situations where it will take a different model?
Right.
So that's where I think these very theoretical and like conceptual models of behavior could be helpful. So I think it's really about knowing what you're supposed to do in life. Like what's your job? What's your work? What are you called to do? And then training yourself for that game. No?
Where do you think, like, because me coming to the Philippines, I noticed with many of the, because I went to Suleiman University, right? Usually a lot of the Suleiman University kids are more of the, well, I don't know if they're going to be offended by this. A lot of them are sheltered. There are a lot of coming from affluent families. All they know is if they're younger, let's go out and go have a beer, let's go hang out, or let's just go study, because their life is almost like, not destined, but their life is structured in a way where you will become something towards the after school type thing. But like, and I don't know if that's an issue here for Ateneo, Mapua, more of the, like the upper echelon schools here. If you were to talk to someone to be like, hey, Kahlil, how do I get like better on my toes? How do I get better on being able to, swivel a lot quicker and pivot a lot quicker? What advice would you give someone that's been sheltered the majority of their life to dive in, or how to dive into a life where they have to think on their toes and gain that street smartness? If that's the word, the street smartness.
I don't think it's like limited to like people who are sheltered.
Yeah.
Because everyone is always like.
Maybe in their own little bubble. Maybe that's a bigger, broader straight.
Everyone's in a bubble actually. I mean, you always like, you're always whether your whatever your economic background is,
Yeah.
you always tend to live in a bubble unless your parents are like super enlightened and like sort of like, or you're just lucky because you, for instance, being in a big family
Yeah.
opens you up to like all sorts of people.
That is true.
Because you have relatives from all sorts of backgrounds.
Yeah.
And you couldn't think like, you know, this bubble mentality of, okay, this is my people,
Yeah.
and there's other kinds of people. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I don't really, you know, like I don't talk to them or
Right.
we are different or something. I could imagine that. But you know, if you come from a big family, you have and you have to like your relatives, your blood,
The personalities are
you
different.
know, and then you know it's like so. That's, I mean, and maybe other circumstances. You just happen to maybe, I don't know, live in a society where there's so much like diversity of backgrounds that you could blend.
Yeah.
But it's also a skill. I mean, it's a kind of like mental flexibility,
That's true.
which requires practice as well.
Yeah.
And the danger there, because all these situations are dangerous, because the danger there is you don't know who you are.
Yeah.
If you're just like adapting in each situation.
Yeah.
So, to what you call this, to a caveat there that it's not only the shelter kids that could live in a bubble.
Yeah.
So anyone could grow up in
I
a
guess
bubble. So, but like, how do you get out of that? That's the question, no?
Me speaking personally, I guess to your point of everyone being in a bubble, I was always in a bubble of and I had to get over this for a very long time, that those kids on the other side of the tracks were not the same. I lived through that for a very long time because I grew up in a heavy like ghetto, and not so much impoverished, but everybody, like, you know what's happening on the streets. There's a lot of bad things happening on the streets, and I was privy to seeing all of this. And I guess maybe not so much the training, but you're just accustomed to be like, oh, the place where the grass is a lot greener and there's no like cars sitting there, like, you know, rusted cars. They're just different. But then as I got older and I traveled more, I found myself, I guess, breaking out of that bubble now that I think about it. As in, like, me being outgoing enough to be like, hey, how's it going? What's your name? How's this? And looking at perspectives of their perspectives.
So I guess that's the answer. I mean, just to be
open
to people. I mean, once you experience like the humanity of the other, and then that's it. You're like your old like bubble will be broken.
I think so. I guess in a sense of becoming or wanting to be a leader, you kind of have to dabble or find ways to, I guess, work out of your comfort zone, be around enough people where you are seeing different personalities outside of families. And, you know, it always sucks when you find someone who's very close-minded, who's just that way, or, you know, but I find that the younger generation now, they're open to talk to everyone, obviously. They're just open. What do you think are the core values you would need to be maybe in a broader scope, a good man? Like a core values you would need. This is like, you need to have this to be like, you know what?
Man, that's such a, I mean, that will take like a very long time to answer. I'm not even sure if I know the answer.
Right.
But like the classic, what you call this, answer to that, it's really like the building your good habits, or specifically what the ancient Greeks called the virtues.
Okay, yes.
So it has a very like specific definition in those times. The virtue now is so like vague and it sounds something good to people, but virtue really is really just good habits. Specifically for virtues: prudence, temperance, fortitude, justice. Those are the 4 cardinal virtues. All the other virtues, all the other like characteristics of a good man, like stem from those 4. So um, like prudence. Prudence right now sounds like being afraid or being indecisive, But to the ancient Greeks, it's really being a good decision maker, and not only that, actually doing it. So the doing is part of the choosing. It's not a different, like, this is not theory practice. It's like it's one thing.
Wow. Okay.
So prudence includes, knowing the situation,
Like
discernment,
discernment,
like knowing the reality. What's happening? Actually happening. What is my blind side, or like blind side? What don't I know? What do I know?
Wow.
How reliable is this information?
Wow.
And then like in this modern thing, like probabilistic decision making. If I do this, then this. If this other thing. So all this like this decision making mindsets and principles, they're all in that habit of a prudent man. And also, again, to undo the modern distortion, a man of action. Because a man who knows what to decide but doesn't do is not a prudent man.
No.
So it's like, what is the good thing? What is the right thing? And doing it is part of being prudent.
Taking action.
Taking action or not taking action. So it's like,
but knowing when to do it and not to do it.
It's like if you see that this is not the right thing, you don't take action.
Of course.
It's like you don't, or you take another action. So the action or the doing another thing, which might mean waiting, which might mean, so that's all part of prudence. But when you decide, okay, this is the right thing and the right time is now, then part of it is overcoming the fear. So all these virtues are interrelated, because like the other one is fortitude or courage. That is not a lack of fear, but a mastery of fear. Because fear is good, because you know instinctively that there's something dangerous here. But through prudence, knowing, okay, I sense some danger, but this is the right thing to do, I will do it.
Commit.
Yeah. The thing is, like, that is a skill.
Yes.
You know this because you've trained to fight.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, you
gotta pick your shots.
You pick your shots, but the thing is, like, part of your training, I don't know how early that was.
Yeah.
When your decision to pick a shot and then
become second nature.
You're no longer thinking about the fear of actually doing it.
Yeah.
So it's like that as well in, like, for instance, business or in like management. It's like there are things that feel scary.
Yeah.
But at some point, you just, okay, I acknowledge this is scary.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna do it.
I think that goes into the lines of like understanding what might happen, what can happen, and then just being committed into, like, you know what, my mindset is I'm going to do this, and I'll accept whatever happens to me. But obviously, I'm going to try to do it with the best foot forward.
Yeah.
But accept if whatever the kickback is, accept it.
Yeah.
And I guess it falls along the lines of like being like highly committed.
Yeah.
So once you know all the information is laid out to you, I guess like being committed to do it, because I think a lot of the younger generation, even people our age, you go through like analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
Where you're just like, oh no, I don't know what to do.
Yeah. Well, the other side of fear.
Yeah.
Fortitude is the virtue to overcome fear, or to be the master of yourself, not fear to be the master of you. The other pitfall, which is perhaps more common today, is comfort.
Yes.
Or pleasure, entertainment. So the virtue to overcome that is temperance.
Yes. Harden yourself. What is that like?
Yeah, self-mastery. Yeah. So because it's like you're in your comfort zone. It's so nice here. You're familiar with everything. It also takes training to be comfortable in discomfort. It's like it's like I learned this when one of the times I progressed in this area was when I had to sell Because like being an introvert,
Yes.
it was so hard for me to. This is the kind of like discomfort I was never comfortable in.
Yes.
You know, I was like, I became, for instance, like when I was younger, I became more comfortable in the discomfort of, for instance, like just following the schedule. You know, it's like I feel lazy, but you know, it's like this is time for this. Okay, I can do it. You know, at some point, you know, it's like you develop that skill to overcome that resistance to doing what you plan to do.
Yeah.
But it took me a while because like it wasn't just my personality to overcome the fear of like just picking up the phone and calling someone. That's something that's probably natural to you. I mean, with your personality.
I'm very outgoing. And
Exactly.
I'm okay with rejection.
Yeah.
I'm okay with my. I guess when I feel uncomfortable is when once the rejection happens and I have to go at it again because I already know the return's going to be. I already told you I don't want it. So my discomfort is after rejection, going after it again. Well, that's where I feel like, okay, I have to be really good at renegotiating or how I'm going to approach this, strategize against this. And that took me a long time of like asking like, oh, I know you said no, but I want you to say yes. It's that, you know, like finding a way to understand what the customer really wants and then molding that into a yes for me, for business for me.
Yeah. So we're all built with this like certain tendencies.
Yeah.
Some of them are good, some of them are bad, or some of them just don't fit the situation we're in or the work we need to do.
Right.
And the thing is, we are free and we could mold ourselves. We could change. So that's the. But there are like common pitfalls. Like for instance, like right now, I mean the best minds of our generation. I mean, they were supposed to give us like flying cars, but they are just focused on like this, you know, are controlling our attention. You know, with whatever weakness they could find, whether it's porn, whether it's like you know, lies or vanity or greed or whatever. It's like this. It's always with us. Our phones and like the best you know, algorithms are there to like get your time and attention. So I mean that's part of, you know, mastering oneself, not to be controlled by these like algorithms and the geniuses behind them, but to be a master of yourself.
Yeah.
And the last one, so we talked about
Prudence, fortitude,
temperance. The last one is justice. Justice is giving each one his due.
Is that integrity? Is that what is
it's part of it? I mean, the first three is more like within yourself.
Yeah.
Justice is more of like how you deal with others.
Right.
So you know, like keeping your promises. You know, being a man of integrity. You know, that's basically it. And then you know, it's like being fair, especially if like for instance you're leading a team. Like how do you?
Yeah.
Like
how do you balance it amongst your people?
Exactly. Like for instance, like you know that this person contributes more.
Right.
Of course, you can just like maybe for instance, like salary raises.
Yeah.
You know, it would be
just
topic. If you just like make it like equal to everyone when this person clearly contributed more.
Yeah.
So, but those are very like what you call this, difficult to measure things.
Yeah.
You know? It's like how do you make it fair? Yeah. And even the delivery is important. People have to know why this thing is like that. Yeah. So there's the act of being just. There's also the importance of the perception of being just. Like they have to know that you are being fair. It's not just like within you. Like I know I'm trying to be fair here. It's also you don't know. Maybe you're actually not being fair. So you want again. Let's going back to prudence.
Yeah.
You want to know how they think as well. I mean, you don't. I'm sure you have blind spots.
You can easily make anyone feel slighted to any degree sometimes, and sometimes you don't want to. Sometimes I feel like you want to contain it as much as you can, but then you have to release it and get the control the narrative to a great degree in the office, because, and this is not to get negative, but there's just that one or two people who are just naturally, maybe not drama filled, but they just have the propensity to be a bit on the toxic side, negative side, or pessimistic side of things. I just found that like over the years, no matter where I go, whatever country I'm in, whatever teams I'm working with, there's constantly, you're dealing with politics, mental politics, emotional politics, spiritual politics. You're just trying to deal with it. You're just trying to contain and navigate through so many personalities and trying to find, I guess, going back to that prudence of just being on top of everything as best as you can.
Yeah.
And sometimes you fall short of it. I fall short of it sometimes. And sometimes I'm ahead of the game.
You can change, but you couldn't change people. I mean, it's like,
You just can't, yeah.
yeah. I mean, they will change, but it has to be them. I mean,
Over time, yeah, I guess so.
You know, like it's, well, they can change, but you have no control over it.
As a leader, how do you understand like the buy-in for your people? Like how do you, like I guess we can talk about it later in another video, but do you find it hard to motivate your employees or people around you, your team?
No, I think you have a more complex situation that I do, because I have a small team.
Yeah.
And I handpicked each one of them.
Right.
So it really starts with the selection, and it's like we're very careful in our hiring.
Right.
And you know, we have also like fired people who just don't
work out.
I mean, like it's just like
not a good fit.
Not a good fit. So that's how I mean, you know, like it's not like, you know, people have a lot of choices of where to work, especially if you're hiring good people. I mean, you know that if they don't fit here, they will find other.
They have
work.
options.
They have options.
Yeah.
So, but you know, I'm also like protecting my own sanity. It's
Of course.
You know, it's like, you know, your life is short. You know, it's like, so that's why that's the advantage of like, you know, building your own thing.
Yeah.
You could customize it to fit what works for you. Because like I couldn't imagine doing your job, man. It's like too complex for me. Like I know my weakness, which is like I don't have a well-developed what you call this, social intuition.
Okay.
So that's why I said book smart and street smarts. I just don't have the street smarts to like handle like a
maneuver
huge
sets of
maneuver.
people.
It's like I'm just blind to the politics of this thing. So that's why, like, I like these mental models of like, because like I have to be cerebral about it.
Yeah.
I just don't have the, you know, that instinct.
Yeah.
But it has its advantages. I mean, I don't worry about it. I don't worry about like what people are talking about, because it's just not my game. So what the thing is, like, there are some kinds of work that I'll be very bad at.
Same here. I mean, I think because I kind of got shoved into, well, I work hard for it. I want to always grow, but I've always risen to the occasion of running bigger teams.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, with that wanting to get challenged, there's challenges, and then you're dealing with a lot of personalities, and you're literally like a diplomat / politician in there. You're the same as like any congressman, senator, because you're doing like, okay, everyone, we're gonna take care of this. You know, I mean, I have to thank God for the ability to be able to do what I do. For I know I lack in so many things, but I have to put that on Him, because that's something I pray for all the time. Like just keep me safe, sharp, and wise in everything I do. Sometimes, honestly, I don't even know how I do, because people tell you like, Gil, you're doing such a great job. I'm like, you're like, I don't.
Maybe in the future conversation we could talk about your what you call this, political connections.
oh no, I don't want to get involved in there. I mean, like, I don't know. Maybe it's in the DNA. I don't know.
Yeah, because like I mean, I'm studying anthropology now. So I could give you the theoretical, what you call this, analysis of that dynamic
Yeah.
in the Philippine context of
Okay.
power within the Philippine context, the traditional,
Yeah.
historical
Yeah. We spoke about it.
perspective about that.
Yeah.
And then you could talk about the real life experience.
Oh no,
in that.
trust me. Yeah, I can tell you. I think because I've been exposed to it to a great degree, I see it with my, my family. I think although I don't, you don't mean to do it. I think because you're around it, I was privy to see how some of these people move. So I then just treat any company I work with is like a small community.
That's gonna be an interesting conversation in the future because like there's this show called Shogun as well.
Yeah, I have to get onto it. Yeah, Shogun.
I mean, because like that's what I'm studying right now. Power dynamics in traditional societies.
Yeah.
What I'm interested in is like how is it different in a commercial environment.
Yeah.
And then because like the main model of like the business environment is very like is something quite different. I mean, it's a different culture.
There's similarities to it, but going to our past conversation, I don't think you see as many loyalists now compared to, you know what, I'm gonna hang out here for 20 years, I'm gonna do my 20-year bid.
Yeah.
That I think that's the closest to the shogunate, and then the higher are like, I got to bow to the Queen of England, But now it's more like, it's very, I would have to say, it's very self-centered, self-centered now.
It's more, I think at least this is how I view it. It's more, rather than personal loyalty.
Yeah.
It is a business transaction.
Yeah.
Which I think is a cleaner way to look at it. Because if you are a valuable player in the team, and then the team itself, the operation itself, is a valuable business, meaning you could help it grow, make more revenue, meaning you should get more of that profit from the growth of the business because of your contribution. So it just works from an economic level. Yeah. But also you have to make it work from other dimensions of a person, because you want to grow as not only economically but in your virtue as well, because like our main training ground for virtue is where we spend most of our time in, which is work.
Yeah, that's true.
And of course, family is there as well. I mean, our friendships, but a lot of that was that 1/3 of your day or something like that.
Probably 2/3.
And then, it's like that's your training ground for virtue. So you want you as a decision maker, as the one who designs the environment, you want it to be a training ground for virtue as well, rather than training ground for vice. Like you want to, because it's a virtuous cycle. For instance, like, if you make it a training ground of virtue, they will be better people. They could contribute better to the business. Right. You will make more money. You could spend more money in terms of like helping them. Not only that, it's also like health, mental health, physical health, relationship health, community. These are all like part of the virtuous cycle. So that's how I model my. It's like I don't even want to be like I don't want them to be loyal to me. This has to be a good deal for them. Yeah. Because within this perspective, selling them this, like, we are family. These are like ways to retain them without paying them more, which is unjust. Yeah. I mean, it's. I don't know, man. It's just.
No, I understand what you're saying. I mean, like, I can tell my team, like, you just have to be. I don't want the credit to come to me at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, like, I don't want that type of light on me. I do want you to see what the best thing for the business is, for the main business, and whether that's you doing your best for the next 2 years, for the next 5 years. I totally understand the reality of how the dynamics are now. Yeah. When somebody offers you more money and potentially in your brain maybe the grass is greener on the other side, but especially to the young kids, I want you to factor in the environment that you're plucking yourself out of to go into. You might be making 100K, 200K a month, but understand that if a businessman is going to give you X amount of money, there's going to be a bit more output versus somebody who makes 25K. Versus, you know, because it's you're an investment at the end of the day. Whether the investment pans out or not, your bosses are going to let you know if it's going to pan out or not. But I tell them all the time, like, the least I want in the facility is a very low toxic environment. The best I want is for you to come to work, do your best, and if you build great connections amongst your coworkers, amazing. But keep that toxic stuff keep it at the door. But for me, I've noticed that we're all human beings. We all have bad days. And as much as you want to have an operations manual and have policies, at the end of the day, those are just, I guess, the structure that you walk on. But sometimes, you know, you fall off the structure from time to time, and it's normal. And in going back to being a manager or being free flow structure, sometimes you have to dabble in both, unfortunately. And sometimes like recently, like if your company has crazy amounts of attrition, you start questioning your culture. But then
also you're not only culture, but your salary.
You're like, what's happening here? But then I go deeper into it, and then you have the exit interviews and all these things. But even me, that doesn't leave me fulfilled, because I take it personal. You know, like what happened here? Like what went wrong here? What, you know, and that's I guess that's the catch-22 of being a leader, and the difference between someone who's a leader who collects a paycheck and a leader who actually cares is literally like not getting to anyone's personal life, but understanding like, what did I do wrong to not make you stay? Like, why are you, to me, it's like, why are you breaking up with me? It's like, so I don't take it personal, but I question myself and my team and everyone else, like, what's happening here? Like, what are we doing wrong here? And I guess going back to prudence, you work on it, and then I guess the virtue cycle of fortifying all these things that might have gone wrong, but like you said, it's a cycle. It's a never ending. It's not a vicious cycle, but it's a never ending cycle of trying to refine yourself and get better.
Reed Hastings, the founder of Netflix, has a great alternative to the family model. Which is the sports team. You are a athletic team.
Yes.
And you know, we're here to win.
Yes.
And you know, sometimes people get injured.
Yeah.
You know, but if they had a great track record, of course, you know, you would help them during their injury, because you know, like, they work hard, they're a good team player, and once they recover, they'll be
back tomorrow,
back to like their contribution. So I think it's a better metaphor for like the work team rather than family. Family is just like it's just doesn't. I don't think it fits the situation. Family is family, you know.
Well, that's the problem with family. You accept the alcoholic in your family.
Exactly. you don't fire your.
You accept the gambler in your family.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I get it. If you are in Davao and if you're a young man who wants to get your life kind of like situated, I think this is a great start. And then if when we start having like mini get-togethers amongst the young men, I think I probably want to end up interviewing some of the young men as to, you know, how life was, and you know, and I can't really 100% commit to a lot of the hikings, but Kahlil here is all the time. He's going hiking all the time.
Every month we have one.
Every month, yeah. But it was a pleasure. I'll see you in the next video, and it should be really fun. Thank you. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.